Trump's blame China and the World Health Organization strategy isn't just about covering for himself. It's the perfect opportunity to heat up the new Cold War.
We're going to put a hold on money spent to the WHO. We're going to put a very powerful hold on it, and we're going to see. It's a great thing if it works, but when they call every shot wrong, that's no good.
You might think that this is just Trump being Trump, but his blame China and the World Health Organization strategy echoes a blueprint published just a few days before his announcement. It was written by Daniel Blumenthal and Nicholas Eberstadt, two senior fellows at the American Enterprise Institute, the most influential neoconservative think tank of the 21st century. It's the very same think tank that conceived of George W. Bush's war on Iraq. And Daniel Blumenthal was in charge of the Pentagon's China operations during the Bush administration. So now, instead of Saddam Hussein, it's Xi Jinping and Dr. Tedros Adhanom, who has to be regime changed.
Dr. Tedros needs to be fired. Frankly, he needs to be investigated so we can find out just how deeply in China's pocket he is.
And instead of weapons of mass destruction and ties to Al-Qaeda, it's China intentionally lied about coronavirus and infiltrated the WHO.
This is on par with 9/11, on par with World War II. Some guy in China started this, and we got to stop this stuff in China.
Despite initial missteps local authorities in Wuhan made, once Beijing got involved, it was over. The Chinese government told the US Center for Disease Control about the virus on January 3rd, and the US sat on its hands for months while the virus spread and Trump called it a hoax. Now, as the US's refusal to heed China's warning has killed more than 20,000 Americans, the US government is blowing China's initial mistakes out of proportion, omitting that it knew about the virus and portraying China as an aggressor to drive up tensions. A hot war between the US and China is overwhelmingly unlikely because of the doctrine of mutual assured destruction, or MAD. What's certain is ongoing government propaganda offensives like Daniel Blumenthal is calling for.
We need to engage in political warfare in a much more robust fashion. I'd love to see us go back to some kind of organization that the GC could lead, like the USIA that we had in the Cold War, that actually creates a cadre of information warriors.
We're already seeing the intelligence agencies and mainstream media ramping up disinformation campaigns and psychological operations targeting the American public, just like they did in the lead up to Iraq. Like this press release dressed up as a news article based on how two anonymous intelligence agents described a secret report claiming that China lied about its death toll, or the debunked claim that a drop in cell phone users means China covered up its death toll, or the viral story about how urns in Wuhan mean China concealed tens of thousands of deaths. It's sourced from Radio Free Asia, part of a propaganda network built by the CIA, and from the far-right Falun Gong cult that believes God sent Trump to destroy communism. Or this evidence-free story about coronavirus patients being burned alive in Wuhan. It's a never-ending barrage of deceptions designed to redirect popular discontent resulting from the US government's refusal to protect the public onto a foreign boogeyman. And according to Blumenthal, prominent human rights NGOs and the US regime change arms are all working hand in glove.
We also have great NGOs who have been really very ahead of the curve. Human Rights Watch and Freedom House. The National Endowment for Democracy has a role. Freedom House has a role. The State Department has a role. Some of the intelligence agencies have a role.
That might explain why Human Rights Watch permanent dictator Ken Roth put out tweets comparing China to Nazi Germany, or warns that special effects videos are actually Chinese killer robots. Or this Freedom House report that ranks China as less free than the besieged Gaza Strip, where snipers and remote control machine guns fire on anybody who tries to leave. Here in the US, Blumenthal wants to crush dissent and deport more journalists for the crime of being Chinese.
We obviously need to continue doing what we're doing and treating Chinese media personas as foreign agents, because that's what they are. There's no free media. They are foreign agents of the Chinese Communist Party. We need to keep kicking them out and putting caps on them and making them register as foreign agents.
Meanwhile, Trump's blame game strategy has total support in his party, and the incitement not only against the Chinese government, but against Chinese people is off the charts.
When you buy a product from China, you have to say, that's the group of people, all right, that completely lied to us and force us to shut down our economy.
President Trump's 100% right to go after the World Health Organization. That's really been a front organization for the Chinese Communist Party. This is a murderous group of gangsters, and they've got to be held accountable by the world.
They are behaving like a rogue nation when they are trying to pretend that they just want to be another peaceful member of the world community. They're far from it.
We can bring them to their knees. They are not our friends.
Folks, this should have every American angry. This should have every American demanding reprisals.
This kind of incitement is working. As divided as Americans are, thanks to a massive disinformation effort, Republicans and Democrats agree that China is at fault and the US should punish it for the coronavirus pandemic, even as our government refuses to take adequate measures to stop the spread. And it's a bonanza for the military-industrial complex. 20 billion more to fight China, please. There are now 100 hate crimes against Asians every day. One Asian woman stepped outside her home and had acid thrown in her face. It's gotten so bad that the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus wrote a letter begging lawmakers to stop inciting hate crimes. This should sound familiar to anyone who was alive during 9/11 and the subsequent invasion of Iraq. A half-wit president surrounded by fanatical neocons and a toothless opposition is exploiting a major crisis to put the country on a war footing, while mainstream media, intelligence agencies, phony human rights groups, and the State Department target us with lie after lie and incite hate crimes against minorities. It doesn't have to be this way. This could be a time of global cooperation and solidarity, but the same old Cold Warriors are needlessly hyping up tensions that could have dangerous consequences that no one sees coming.